The film Nefarious, The Fight for Human Consciousness. One of this year's great Christian psychological horror releases, Nefarious, has aroused intense curiosity in Brazil and around the world. With its entry into the Univer catalog from December 9th, many are wondering if it's worth checking out. Directed and scripted by Konzelman and Cary, the film is based on the novel A Nefarious Plot by Steve Deace. The plot follows psychiatrist Dr. James Martin, called to evaluate the mental health of Edward Brady, a serial killer on death row, scheduled for execution that night. His mission is to determine whether the man has any mental condition that prevents him from being executed. The previous psychiatrist's diagnosis points to a dissociative personality disorder, formerly known as multiple personalities. This report would prevent the execution. Edward claims to be a demon named Nefarious. Despite being an atheist and skeptical about communication with spiritual entities, the psychiatrist joins the conversation, trying to analyze Edward's mental state when talking to Nefarious. However, the demon seems to control the situation, seeking to free itself from Edward and involve James in a greater plan. The heart of the film lies in this dialogue between the two, reminiscent to a certain extent of the idea present in the book Letters from a Devil to His Apprentice, by C.S. Lewis, which reveals the strategies of evil from the point of view of a demon, launching a new light on our everyday lives. For example, at one point, Nefarious explains to James that demonic possession is a process, revealing a lot about the evil influence on thoughts, seeking to manipulate human wills, actions and reactions. The devil states that to enter someone's life, he needs the person to grant small openings so that he can gain dominance over them. Just say yes to his suggestions. This is based on the Bible. By obeying the voice of evil, a person automatically distances himself from God. It doesn't matter the size of obedience, you cannot serve two masters. Saying yes to one inevitably means saying no to the other. Edward's profile describes him as a cunning manipulator, but when the real Edward talks to the doctor, we see a fragmented and confused man, with his mind dominated by the nefarious personality. This exemplifies what would happen to someone who allowed their mind full access to evil, true manipulation. However, something deeply distressed me. I felt an intense desire to reach across the screen, call on the name of Jesus and cast out that demon. It was torturous to watch Edward being used like that. This led me to recognize the importance of the spiritual work carried out by the church in prisons. What Nefarious does to Edward in the film is just a sample of what evil wants for everyone. Imagine someone confined to a cell for 24 hours, in an environment infested with demons, without contact with the outside world, without someone to pray for them, without access to the Bible. What chance would this person have? And if the person responsible for evil and bad choices cannot be killed, what is the point of wishing for the death of the people influenced by him? Who would Edward be without Nefarious? One of the film's greatest virtues is to approach the topic in the least religious way possible. The word demon immediately evokes a religious connotation, but if these beings exist, they are not linked to religion, but to reality. Not believing in something that exists does not make it cease to exist, it just leaves us disarmed. From my perspective, Nefarious isn't just about demonic possession, it is about the presence of evil in society, about a spiritual battle and about the main combat field of this war, the human mind. Even if you don't believe it, it's worth considering. What if it were true? Would it make sense? And yes, it does. It's not a horror film, some critics disagree. How could it not be? A film that takes place entirely in an interview with a demon, an exclusively evil entity, is pure terror. Everything worst in this world comes from these creatures. The dilemma is that we realize that if Nefarious is a horror film, so is human life in this demon-infested world. And we don't have much control other than, in this life, making the right choices to free ourselves from the dominion of evil, allowing God to defend us. It's the only way to ensure that we are far from something similar to what Nefarious and his minions spread here. I haven't come across such an insightful film in a long time. Even though it is Christian, the film is careful to use language that is accessible to those who do not share the same belief and to avoid stereotypes, despite possibly disturbing some more radical activists. However, he exposes the truth clearly. It's worth watching. Take advantage of its streaming availability and watch it 2 or 3 times, paying attention to the details. I guarantee it will expand your understanding. Credits to the author, Vanessa Lampert, writer, journalist and screenwriter. Want to immerse yourself in meaningful and enriching Christian content? Subscribe to our channel now and be part of a transformative journey. Receive exclusive updates, inspiring reflections, in-depth analysis of relevant topics, and more. Join a community committed to Christian values and expand your spiritual knowledge. Don't waste time, sign up and connect with content that impacts lives.